Hello and welcome to the next EUP plenary session. My name is Rorschach. I'm the Speaker of Parliament. I've got with me members of the House of Commons, the government and foreign officials, as well as members and interested parties that came to join us in today's session. Today it's going to be a much more quieter session. We've got with us His Majesty the King, who's here to deliver a speech after the request of my office and support of many of the citizens of Enadian in this case here. And we also have one bill to propose as well as one House of Motions as introduced by His Majesty's government. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I would like you all to give a round of applause to the one and only His Majesty the King, Craig.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker of the Enadian Parliament. To my dear and loyal subjects of Enadia, these past few months have been a testing time for us all. Some have lost loved ones, others have had to make huge sacrifices to their livelihoods. But if this pandemic shows something, the first, I may add, of which many of us have encountered, is that when it comes to it, society will uplift one another. As a community, we will stand together, support one another, and fight back against this pandemic. Even the smallest exchange of kindness can change somebody's day. And as the weeks go on, it becomes ever more important that we use the opportunity of this virus to make society a better place and that we restore the community spirit that has got us through tragedy in the past. Therefore, I'm happy to announce in my position as Monarch of Enadia to host events with the goal to uplift one another and to provide light in what seems like an ever-darkening tunnel. My government will set out the future of Enadia as a region where the people are sovereign and a place for all of us to call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Majesty, and thank you for joining us. Members of the Parliament, I open the floor for any points of discussion or points of order if you wish to honor our King who decided to join us today. The Prime Minister will have first the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank His Majesty for his remarks on this his inaugural address to the people of Enadia since being elected last week. The government notes the importance of moving forward in these difficult times with the coronavirus, and I think that the Enadian people have shown a remarkable resilience in coming together during that period. However, what I will say is it is absolutely government policy at the moment to continue to deliver for the Enadian people as we have done so far, and our policy is to deliver meaningful reform to them, moving increasingly towards a prosperity that we can all share. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you as well, members of the House, and thank you, Your Majesty, for your opening speech in the Parliament for the first time as the Monarch of Enadia. With that being said, unless we have any other points of order, the Office of the Speaker would like to move the floor right now to the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Exodius, who is the seconder of one of the bills introduced originally by the Honourable Member Helvetorius. The bill is no other than the well-known the Manchester Speaking Bill, and if Mr. Exodius is ready to actually propose the bill and open it basically for discussion in the Parliament, we are happy to begin. Honourable Member, are you still with us? This is going magnificently well.
He's typing.
He's typing.
In the meantime, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move that we swear in the honourable, that the member duly elected in the by-election, Roma Sparta, while we wait for the minister's connection to be re-established.
Yes, absolutely. 1 second, bear with me please, as I'm trying to pull up the oath of office in this case here. Mr. Roma Sparta, can you hear us? Can you speak, by the way? Are you going to be using your microphone or... Yes, you're typing. Okay, I understood. I understand. Trying to type within the Parliament channel.
Yeah.
That's the official one for the House of Commons. Sir, this is the oath of office that you're supposed to take. You're going to insert your name and you will swear that you will bear true allegiance to the Enadian Union, that you will respect, follow the Constitution and laws that the people of Enadia have established. By your oath, you will fulfill your duties as an elected member of the Parliament, and you will demonstrate the utmost respect and professionalism to all Enadian citizens. Unfortunately, the member of the Parliament, Roma Sparta, is not able to actually use their microphone due to technicalities from their end, so they're going to be typing in their oath of office. In the meantime,
I have fixed my mic.
Thank you so much. We're connecting live directly from the honourable member's country. We have him ready to, I guess, propose the bill finally, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Lovely. All right. For the benefit of the House, I'm going to post a link to the bill directly in the forums, and I'm happy to introduce Roma Sparta as the latest and newest MP in this House and this honourable House of Commons. He just took his oath of office.
Yeah.
And welcome. Now you're going to be typing normally, so this is how we will continue with it. And the Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Exodius, returning back to the Parliament after a long time of absence, he's able and ready to continue introducing his bill. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So this is the Manchester Speaking Bill that I'm here to propose to you today. So this House, recognizing the desire on all sides to get through business, will regulate the amount of questions to the government during any one sitting. Article 1 sets the speaking limit. Under subsection 1, each member may only ask up to 4 questions during one sitting of the House, and under subsection 1A, the government can allow further questions if they approve of it. Article 2, under exceptions, in the subsection 1 of Article 2, ministers of the Crown are exempt from the question limit, along with the Leader of the Opposition. Basically, the intent of this bill is to smooth business along in the House and basically make it so we're able to get through more things more quickly. And the last session of the House I was in was a particularly bad case of this, but hence we have arrived at this bill that we have here.
Thank you. With that, I believe you conclude basically the presentation of the bill. Honourable members of the House, we have the floor opening right now for all of you to raise your points and debate this specific bill. We have already 2 members of the House. The rest of you can raise your hands. I'm going to be giving the floor to the Prime Minister of Enadia, Mr. Ontario.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just wish to note to my honourable friend, the Secretary of State, who have a very long relationship with and working towards the people's objectives of Enadia's people's government. The bill proposal currently on the floor, I'm sure the Secretary recognises as he's standing in for the honourable member Helvatorius, does lack the clarifications needed and would be better served in the government's upcoming Parliamentary Procedures Act bill, should I say, of the next session. So I assume I can count on the members' support in defeating the legislation this evening and ensuring that a more robust and certainly more clarified bill under the Parliamentary Procedures Bill would ensure that members' rights in the minority and on the backbenches are greatly respected than this piece of legislation.
Yes, I would actually agree with the Prime Minister in this regard. As I'm sure you guys are aware, I have been somewhat out of it recently just due to real life issues. And so I am in support of such a thing. I wasn't actually aware of this because I have not had a chance to speak and get caught up on what's been going on. But under this condition, yes, I believe I would be in support of this Parliamentary Procedures Act, as you so aptly put it.
The floor will be moving to the Honourable Member, Orange Main.
So originally when the bill was proposed, it was in light of a few members dominating the parliament in terms of speaking. However, what I would like to note is that a lot of the solution can be done, it could better be served by the speaker denying or having the government deny a member that's been overly speaking, rather than a bill that arbitrarily sets a limit on certain individuals in the House. I feel like it is far too targeted, and I feel like it does little to actually solve the original problem. I do think that it's not at extreme that many have said, due to I feel that very few members actually routinely make it to the 4-question limit. But however, in a situation that someone would need to go past 4 questions, I feel like that would be probably be a severe situation that probably wouldn't want delays in the situation. I do think that there needs to be robust solutions to the Parliament. We do not want one member overly dominating like used to happen. And so I will be supporting the government proposal to set certain parliamentary procedures. But at this point, having a very narrow solution to solve one specific targeted problem without me being sure to actually it will work anything other than infuriate our citizens and make it feel like we're disrespecting their rights, which in a sense this actually does, I feel like there is no positive reason to vote for the bill and every reason to vote against it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, honourable member.
I'm not sure if that was a question, but here.
The floor will be moving to the right honourable member, Old Ravenwood.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will keep these comments brief. I know, as with many of my fellow honorable members of this Parliament, we are all concerned with the length of plenary sessions and ensuring they can be conducted in a smooth, timely, and effective manner. And I know that the intent of this bill was to accomplish this. However, I believe that this bill does leave several holes, such as if a member does go into 4 questions, the only entity that can allow further questions is simply, quote, the government, which leaves many room for interpretation and could cause more confusion if a member ever did need to go over the 4-question limit. And it also runs the risk of not allowing members to express their opinion on certain pieces of legislation and properly represent the people of Enadian. I look forward to seeing the new proposal put forward by the government, but for the Manchester Speaking Act bill in its current state, I will not be supporting it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield my time.
Yeah.
Thank you, honourable member. The floor will be moving to the Secretary of Homeland Affairs, the honourable member Lincoln.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, I have to admit to the House that I did have a hand in proposing this bill and working on it. However, it applied to a specific situation, a situation which has now passed. So I urge all members of this House to resign this bill to the dustbin of history and allow the government to bring a more reform proposal forward in the future. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
Any further points of order? If not, we will be moving the floor right now for a general vote of this bill, and I need a second.
Second.
Thank you so much. Honourable members of this House, you're eligible to actually vote right now for the Manchester Speaking Bill. Cast your votes.
Orange is an emoticon.
Yes.
The emoticon didn't work actually, so I'm trying to find it.
I can cast it for you if you want.
Well, I've never needed to vote no before.
There you go. Let me clarify that this is you voting.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, I need to exercise the proxy for the honourable member.
Yes, of course. The Prime Minister earlier informed the office and this chair that they will be voting in the honourable member Sidonia's absence, as they are actually moving from Korea back to their homeland in this case here. The Prime Minister will be casting the vote right now as a proxy. Alright, well, I mean, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 against votes and 1 abstention. This bill has failed the House of Commons. That sounded a bit wrong, but you get the point. With that being said, we will be moving right now to a second point of today's session, and it is the House motion of the 7th June 2020, as introduced and proposed by the government. I believe that the Prime Minister will be actually introducing this one, correct?
Yes, I will be presenting House motion number 1.
Thank you. With that being said, I just need to point out to the House of Commons that the Honourable Member held victorious on his absence. He has already voted on the Manchester Bill, and he voted against his own bill. That's incredible. Alrighty, well, with that being said, Prime Minister, whenever you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A rare, complete demonstration of unanimity across this House against the Manchester Speaking Bill. I'm sure the honourable members will support the government's proposal next week when we bring forward the excellent parliamentary procedures bill that we are working on. However, we move to today's motion number 1. A quiet day in the House, I think, to say the least. This House, recognising the need to I'm reading the wrong motion set. The Prime Minister reads the wrong one. Okay. Do apologise, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah,
Quote,
thank you.
This House does hereby recognise the concerns of constituents who want to receive more direct contact with their members of Parliament, to raise concerns and discuss matters. This House calls upon the government to bring forward legislation to implement formal surgeries to facilitate greater democratic accountability and transactions between members of this House and those they represent. Thank you. I will note the intention of this motion is to move towards the Parliamentary Surgeries Bill of next week, which will mandate the government to bring forward legislation to ensure that MPs directly interact with their constituents on a regular basis, and to give constituents a formal opportunity in law when legislation is presented next week and considered by the House, if passed, to attend and make appointments to speak with their MP in detail about issues that are bothering them and things they want to have raised in the House moving forward. MPs will exercise their discretion on if they wish to raise the issue, but constituents should be given the opportunity to directly interact with their MP. Certain government members already do this. I particularly hold constituent surgeries on a semi-regular basis, and I know several ministers do also, but we would like to extend that to all members of the House to give our constituents the best service we can as members of this place. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. In this case here, I would also like to point out to the honourable members of the House, first of all, the floor is open for any discussion or debate or even points in this case here, and within the powers of my office and this chair, I'm going to open up more plenary session nights and at the same time parliament session nights if you wish to hold any town halls, and I'll be happy to join you, record that, upload it, so you can speak directly with the electorate as well as the many interested folks here in the Enadian Union. With that being said, the floor is open for discussion in regards to the House motions of the 7th June as introduced by the Honourable Member, and in this case here, the Right Honourable Member and Prime Minister of this nation, Ontario. Any points of argument? Any points that you wish to raise? Hearing none, posted at least. And I can't believe I'm saying none in this case here, because usually the former honourable member Cesar, he would raise his hand at the last moment. I need a second in order to move to a general vote of the House of Motions.
I beg to move.
Thank
Second.
you. With that being said, you may cast your votes for the House motions of 7 June 2020. We've reached quorum. 8 ayes. Yep. Okay. I suppose we will be having a vote from the proxies at the same time. And with full House voting, this House of Motions has passed. Congratulations, everybody. Now, the floor will be open for any sort of general statements and comments, both from members of this House and at the same time members of the Cabinet. I was made aware by His Majesty the King that he wasn't very pleased or satisfied with the fact that he didn't receive any sort of comments about his brilliant speech of 2 minutes. And before we move to any of that concern, which I'm sure the honourable members are quite concerned about, I'll be giving the floor to all Ravenwood in order to raise their own point. Yeah, go ahead.
So, at the request of His Majesty the King, I would like to congratulate and compliment him on a successful start to office and a successful first speech to this parliament. And here. I yield my time.
Thank you. The honorable member Lincoln has just expressed his feelings about the king, and he says, "We love the king."
You're damn right.
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
I'm listening, Prime Minister.
Thank you. I wish to notify members that ministers will be willing to take questions on ministerial business, and I have a brief update statement on foreign affairs.
Unless there are any other compliments, I believe that we can move to ministerial statements in this case here.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would just like to take the opportunity to formally welcome my colleague, the Foreign Secretary, back to his place on the government front bench, having been away for personal reasons, which we will not get into in this House. However, I note that in his absence, we have engaged in some foreign affairs matters that he will be at behest to follow up upon as soon as possible in his formal briefing later on this evening, myself and ministers in cabinet. I wish to just note that the Open Enadian policy is moving ahead as scheduled. However, the government is not able to provide a comprehensive update to the House as a requirement of motion of last week. So I wish to make clear to members of the House the government will provide the Open Enadian embassy review update to this House next week at the first session available. We do apologise for the situation, but obviously members can be aware that the Foreign Secretary has been otherwise engaged in personal matters and was on formal leave of absence. Just to clarify that in case members were wondering where the update was. The government will bring forward that legislation in response to that as quickly as possible also. The government has also wished to state that we are proud of the Open Enadian policy, and we think it will be a shining beacon of democratic freedoms across nation states when fully implemented. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Any other statements from government officials or questions towards the government? You can't see me right now, but my eyes are quite open for any of your hands going up. Honestly, they're quite open. No.
We should have a maiden speech from Roma Sparta.
Yes.
Yeah.
The honourable member Roma Sparta, would you like to actually? I mean, you've informed me that your microphone is working. Would you like to take the floor and greet your colleagues? Just like kindergarten, in a way. Waiting on Roma Sparta, I'll be giving the floor to Orange Main because it took some time. The honourable member Orange Main, go ahead.
I would just like to ask the Prime Minister a question.
I believe that the Prime Minister will be happy to take your question. Go ahead.
So my question is that, so do you think that the fact that this House is quite flexible to the personal lives of our MPs proves that we're not only dedicated to keep the members of to be flexible and keep our members of our House feel respected and feel that they can have time for their own lives, but also from the fact that as a House we care about the Enadian people's personal lives and endeavors and trying to make sure that everyone can have their own personal life while also be important while still fulfilling important roles in Enadia.
Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I absolutely agree with my honourable friend, the Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Orange Main. He's absolutely correct that this House of Commons is most accommodating in line with the Parliamentary By-Elections and Recall Act 2020 that makes clear the regulations in which this House operates. It's my pleasure that when members are in times of need and difficulty, that the Whip's office, particularly on our side of the House, is able to get involved and ensure that members are given the time they need and through official channels. I'd firstly, and I take the opportunity to welcome our latest Reformist MP to the House, Mr. Roma Sparta. It's great to have you on board, and I look forward to your many interactions and questions in this House moving forward from the government back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you as well. 1 second. Yes, the honourable member Roma Sparta is asking me if what I said, because they actually missed it. I said I've been informed by you that you got your microphone working again, and I want to know if you would like to actually take the floor and introduce yourself to this House of Commons. Sadly, I do not know sign language, so... Alright, thank you. The floor is yours. The Honorable Member, Roma Sparta.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to thank everyone for voting me in the House. I'm kind of new to this, but I hope I can make Anadia better than it already was. Thank you.
Brimming with enthusiasm, but well met. Yeah.
Yes,
the whole
indeed.
time.
Sorry for not turning my microphone.
Okay.
You know, I wasn't trying to make this an awkward thing. I was just responding to our friend Vala in public chat in this case here. Alrighty, well, with that being said, members of the cabinet and members of this house, any other statements and comments, or we are ready to conclude today's session?
I beg to move, Mr. Speaker. I wish to note the presence of foreign dignitaries in this house this evening
Yes.
from our allies and partners.
Yes, we do have with us the exceptional Lady Morgan, and at the same time the ambassador from the LCN, the League of Conservative Nations, Mr. Denver. Welcome, and thank you for joining us and tuning in with us once again. Now, with that being said, I believe that we can close today's session, and I would like a second, of course.
I beg to move this house does adjourn for the remainder of the sitting.
Have a lovely day, and thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you next time again.